Telling me it doesn't. There it goes. Welcome to the ATD Cultivating Sponsorship Relationships, since it's now recording now. So that we're going through some of the changes that have happened, but when we were putting together this sponsorship packet, we wanted to really pull out better ways for sponsors or those partners to truly engage with the members, but get the value add, which is the connections that with the members and the leaders in the chapter as well. Who felt that in the past some of the other sponsorships were still surface level, but we want to take a deeper dive and take just drill a little bit deeper to maybe being able to sponsor and engage with specific programs that take all year to plan. However, having a sponsor involved in the event, in the engagement piece, actually really builds the relationship with the organization and the members that are participating with putting it together, but then also identifying some of maybe the audiences that you are specifically targeting that you would like to engage, collect information on, whatever that might be. So I'm going to share my screen. You can see the new packet. My graphic designer just got it back to me this morning at 9:30 a.m. I was like, "Oh, you're really, really pushing it today." um, but no biggie in regards to that. So there's this. I'm just sharing the PDF version of it. It's just a bit easier to do it this way. Everyone can see this.
Yes, we can see it.
Yes, you can see it. Perfect. Okay. And feel like I'm presenting to a audience of 1,000, but I know that's not true. And so this is the new document here. You can see it kept some of the old components, the older components that we have, the about us. Our chapter is growing with about 400 members currently and still growing. At this moment, our goal by 2025 is to reach up to uh, 800 plus members. And due to COVID and transitions and what goes on in the economy, that number fluctuates. But we normally stay right around that 400 goal, that 400 mark, and our goal is to truly push beyond that over the next couple of years. So you can see right now some of the partnerships that we currently have. And these are member partnerships that we have as well, that our members are in the chapter. They're involved in some of these organizations. These are some of the organizations that have partnered with us in the past. And then thinking about that audience. When you think talent development, you're thinking those HR, organizational development professionals, independent consultants, trainers, facilitators, instructional designers, learning technologists, people, and then the learning people and talent managers as well. So, and then there might be other ones in there that we're probably not mentioning too, but talent development encompasses a variety of different things. I think a few years ago, we had a trainer showdown, and we actually had someone that did training for animals. They did dog training, and you forget about the components of the different industries that have trainers, and the content has to be developed for that. So, shout out to Petco and PetSmart for that. Um, but again, some of our national brands that we interact with as well, but here, our signature programs. These are some of the programs we've done in the past. We have a senior learning leaders forum. I'm going to go into detail about mentorship program. This is our fourth year of our mentorship program, I believe, and it's continuing to be a success. A lot of good success stories, and I believe if Rhonda's still on the call, I believe she was one of those that was in the mentorship program when it first started. Um, and then we have community projects, our leadership academy, which continues to grow and enhance, and an employee learning week. I will say that people fight over trying to sponsor employee learning week these days, so I'm trying my best to manage the inquiries about that. Um, Social media engagement. Our LinkedIn presence is growing. Matter of fact, I think this number is probably old. It might be more than 1,700 at this moment. I think we were tapping close to 2,000, and it's continuing to grow. Our Facebook numbers are growing. Twitter numbers normally stay the same. We're not a chapter that tweets a lot. We do post, but as you all know, Twitter is one of those social media platforms that kind of requires you to post like 18 times a day or something. And YouTube, we normally leverage and use that to store video content. And Rhonda, correct me if something has changed in regards to that. Um, with the website, our main website, the homepage, normally averages about 8,000 hits. But our event page, which is really not is listed here, that actually is um, that is actually a new space where Sponsors can put banners and things like that that we've identified, and that actually gets more than 10,000 hits a month as far as people looking for events. So the chapter is definitely striving to planning events in advance so that people could inquiry. I will say that if you're planning an event with us, um, we do get registrants. We get people to register events. We have nice turnouts, but they normally register within the last 2 weeks once they have their schedule solidified. So keeping that up. We do have a newsletter subscription that's more than 3,500 as well. So and growing. So definitely keeping that in mind. There's a page on why to sponsor ATD Atlanta, and we'll go through that. But I wanted to specifically talk about here supporting areas that you can connect, promote, influence, and educate. So connecting, we have our communities of practice programs. Those are those entities like learning technology, um, I'll say communities of practice, which could be more so instructional groups for instructional designers, 1099s, independent consultants. These are specific groups that we will now be doing virtual programs for the year. We're keeping these programs specifically virtually so that we can reach all of those in these specific areas in the entire state. Greater Atlanta is the only ATD chapter in the state, so we're trying to be more inclusive to the other cities and being able to provide programming that they can reach. Then we have our geographic um, gigs, geographical interest groups. We're starting off some of those in-person engagements with some of the smaller cities that surround the greater Atlanta area. You'll see some of those coffee talks and calls that are there, and then we're going to spread out to some of those other cities that are in outside Atlanta, like Athens, Savannah, Valdosta. Once we've identified stakeholders there to host, and then we have our Senior Learning Leaders Forum series, which is a workshop, which is a 5 part or three to 5 part series specifically for senior leaders, so senior directors and above, to come and actually ideate, talk about the problems or opportunities in the workplace in regards to talent development, and then maybe brainstorm on some of those solutions amongst themselves. This is an exclusive event specifically for them that we will be launching, if not this year, beginning of next year. So there's an opportunity to really truly engage with those senior talent development leaders in the greater Atlanta area or in the state of Georgia. It's going to be specifically for that group. Promoting chapter meetings, ACE conference, Leadership Academy, good ways to promote, to attract new clients, are ways that we'll be able to provide and support in, then influence. Supporting our mentorship program, 20 individuals that are normally in that program from mentors and mentees, and then Employee Learning Week, definitely supporting in that aspect. And then there are a variety of ways to engage when it comes down to educating. We have our ALC conference where we send our leaders to educate and upskill on how to run the chapter, lead in the chapter. We have our ACE conference where all talent development professionals are welcome to come and we educate in a variety of different ways there. We have our scholarship program where we like to give back to our members. So we've enhanced our scholarships this year to include some membership scholarships as well as professional development scholarships too. And then Leadership Academy that is evolving, and our leader for Leadership Academy, Nicole, our president-elect, is on the call to ask to give more detail about that too. So far, as I've covered, are there any questions? Feedback.
I'm sorry, what were you saying about on the call and ask them about more information? What was that?
So I was saying, Nicole was on the call
Oh,
to
okay,
ask
cool.
about Leadership Academy specifically. Any details? I don't have the details yet because I know she's still planning.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Mhm.
Just want to
So we have 4 levels of high-level chapter sponsorship. So when I say high level, these are, hey, I believe in ATD Greater Atlanta. And so, we have our believer, we have our supporter, we have our contributor, and we have our advocate level. And so, and I know some of these prices are a little bit of a shock, but we do have payment plans this year as well. So worry about that part. But you can engage, and then in these high levels, these are specifically meant for corporations or entities that probably have teams around this size. So maybe I have a team of 5 or 10, 15, or 20. And so that includes an annual membership into the chapter. You get your website, you get your organization on the website as far as a banner. We are giving designated podium time at our chapter meetings for these as well to speak about your organization, how people can get involved, how people can engage. We will do a dedicated email to our membership in regards to you being that sponsor and sponsoring the organization, social media campaigns as far as talk about topics and things that you want to engage in regards to talent development, discounts on advertising, and then as you can see on the believer part right here, they get to have a speaking role at ACE and also priority consideration with the ACE conference in regards to submitting a presentation, becoming a speaker, or even becoming an exhibitor on that end. So really packing on pulling out some of those perks on what's a true value for organizations, backlinking on our website, logo in our monthly newsletter, and then also our complimentary job posting as well. Members, and this includes membership on these levels here, get to actually post openings on our job board that actually gets a lot of hits. So you'll be able to access our job board utilizing your ATD user information. So if you log into Wild Apricot, similar how you register for events, you can use the same piece to log into the job board and actually post an event, post a job if your organization is hiring. So another way of engaging and interacting. And then also complimentary tickets to our December holiday party, which has continuously grown. So definitely want to say that we like to celebrate and celebrate and recognize our leaders and volunteers at the end of the year, also throughout the year as well. So chapter meetings. Chapter meetings, there are 5 chapter meetings throughout the year. We meet bi-monthly. So this February meeting, I believe is on the 28th, is the first meeting of the year, followed by April, June, August, and October. In between, there are committee meetings and planning meetings as well. And so you can sponsor a meeting based on the figures that are there, and that includes, go to the next page. That includes your logo being at the registration site on that page, including in the event as well, promo emails that go out, social media posting, link backs, and variety of different things in a sense that you'll see here. And you will all get this information. Um, and there's a perk though for someone that would like to sponsor all of the meetings for the entire year. And I'm actually talking to someone right now. We just bundled them all. So then that way they'll be the exclusive sponsor for all the chapter meetings for the entire year. They'll get all of these perks. They'll get the ability, everything that's underneath that platinum aspect as far as podium time, logo, recognition, whatnot. So we wanted to clean this up a little bit so that we can know who and how to engage. Some of you might be volunteers in the organization already, and you know that putting on a chapter meeting is like putting on a miniature event. So we wanted to figure out the best way to engage and have value add for our sponsors, for our relationships and partners. And we're like, okay, this was one good way of doing it, but we're still open for feedback. Again, testing this out. We have the ability to customize packages as well.
Neil, can I ask you
Yes,
a question
go
really quick
ahead.
on that? So, Leanne was wondering, she noticed that one of the chapter meetings already has a sponsor listed. So if you do the bundle, how would that work? Would it just be the remaining 4 meetings?
Yes, we'll customize it and modify based off the remaining 4 meetings.
Okay.
So that was planned prior to this package being
Okay,
approved.
gotcha.
Mhm.
And then she also just wanted to make sure that as a meeting sponsor, there would be a table that we could have leave behinds and whatnot on.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. So as you can see right here, there's an option here, opportunity for hosts to draw
Mhm.
prize drawings, leave behinds, and things like that. Yes,
Okay.
we will ensure that we talk to Jen, the chapter programs leader, VP, and about making sure that there's a space reserved specifically for that sponsor to leave
Mhm.
behinds as
Okay,
well. Mhm.
perfect. Thank you.
Oh, no problem. So this is one of the different things here, program event and then leadership track. We decided that, hey, we have signature programs all year long. These programs or these events run continuously each year. So Employee Learning Week, our mentorship program, our leadership academy, our jumpstarting our senior learning leaders forum or roundtable, technology. And so it's something that we leverage and have enhanced and had to leverage every year. And add to offering our scholarships, our December holiday party, sending our leaders to ALC to develop and learn how to manage and run a volunteer organization. Then we have our gigs and our COPs. So I've thought about, and we were thinking about a way of engagement. How can we truly make these functions a highlight of the chapter? So, with our communities of practice, we've broken down our communities of practice groups: learning and development, career development, learning technology, human capital, and then independent networking and collaborating. So the independent consultants, that's that group of those like myself, that's a consultant that will be in that group. We're keeping these groups virtually so that we can bring in more. I think I told you about those earlier, but the goal is, hey, you can sponsor these and you get we'll go into that later. So geographical interest groups, these are the groups that we're doing in the greater Atlanta area right now. The Atlanta Midtown, downtown, these events are being added to Wild Apricot to the event calendar for people to register for. And these are just coffee meetups. We're meeting up with coffee. There might be a happy hour one in there, just really depending on the availability of the volunteers and then in those areas and where they select to have that event. So these are going to be our in-person events. And then later on in a year, we're going to be working with Greater Georgia. So the cities that you have identified here: Athens, Augusta, the Columbus, Macon, Valdosta area, and Savannah. We're testing out the Greater Georgia area right now to see if we can find interested people that would be willing to host some meetups so that we can just expand talent development throughout the entire state. So there's an option of being able to engage in that space in this area. The senior learners leaders right here, this gives you a page about a little short description on what this is: an invitation only type of event to senior learning leaders. We'll be working with our board of directors of being able to identify those senior learning leaders in the state of Georgia, and then setting up what those roundtables look like. We have gotten some volunteers interested in planning this event, so we'll be, once we identify the internal stakeholder or leader that will sponsor that on the executive board to make sure that it happens, we'll definitely have more feedback on that end. And then Leadership Academy is where we look and educate our new leaders on leaders in the chapter, volunteers in the chapter, on how to engage and become leaders in our organization, but we upskill them in the process of doing that as well. So the goal for Leadership Academy definitely is to leave with a strategic plan for the upcoming year. So these leaders, these volunteers will be planning for the upcoming year. These are the people that you want to talk to or engage with. So because they'll be setting the agenda, the programming, the ideas and things that go on for the upcoming year. So 2024, believe it or not, is already here. We're just not paying attention, but it's here already. So especially when you're in leadership, you're planning for the upcoming year. This year is already done. And then our
Yeah,
mentor.
and just
Go
can
ahead.
I put a plug in for the
Yes,
Leadership
go ahead.
Academy? Yeah, I'm very open to different ideas this year for the Leadership Academy, but like Neil was saying, I would definitely love it. It's targeted to people that want to become a leader within our own Atlanta chapter of ATD, but also leaders in your own company that want to improve their leadership skills. So I'm definitely looking for ideas and potential sponsors on getting that program up and running. I was actually hoping to maybe have it in the spring. I know that that's not typically when it would happen, but I really want to hone in on those leaders that want to be a part of the ATD chapter and hone their leadership skills as we move through the year, right? With nominations coming up in the later half of the year in like August, in September. I want to go ahead and kind of get in front of that so that there are potential leaders that want to be involved, they can be and get this academy. So anyone that's interested, definitely reach out to Neil or myself and we will give you more information. Thanks, Neil, for the plug.
Oh, no problem, no problem. And so definitely there. And again, this is being recorded, so we'll make sure we share this with everyone else. Mentorship program, 6-month program. that they're selected, they're aligned with a mentor that's directly in their field, or criteria based on where they want to go. I will say that. And then they have 6 months of engagement and how they would like to proceed around that part. And they meet periodically, minimum a monthly. It's a group. And then they set up their own individual meetings with their mentor to enhance. I will say we've had a lot of good success stories from the mentorship program. Hopefully, we'll be able to promote some of those success stories this year as well.
Can I add on the mentorship program?
Go
We are
ahead.
still in need of mentors. As usual, every year we have way more mentees that apply for the program. So if you or anyone that you know might be interested in becoming a mentor for someone, please definitely go to the website, fill out the application, and sign up. We are in desperate need of more mentors.
Yes, and I'm going to be sending out that message to the past presidents, Rhonda, so that they know about the mentorship program. They're special. They like personalized emails.
Okay, cool beans. Thank you.
And Miss Morris, you're asking, is there a cost associated with the leadership program? Is that in regards to sponsoring it or participating?
Hey, Neil. Actually, participation.
There is no cost
Oh,
associated
okay.
to participating in Leadership Academy that I
Thank you.
know of. Now,
Okay.
Nicole,
That's right.
okay,
Okay.
there
Thank
you
you.
go. And so, um, moving on, and then Employee Learning Week. In December, it's normally the first or second week in December, which is Employee Learning Week. However, the ramp up to Employee Learning Week is where we identify our champions that agree to actually participate in Employee Learning Week, and they actually provide learning and access to their employees. There are some organization that does this already, and they come out as those champions. Our goal this year is to start a lot earlier as far as preparing for that week, maybe having a dinner for Employee Learning Week for those champions that are identified, that are actually participating earlier on before that week, and then talking about the enhancements and things that they do in the organization to promote it. So, great week to have. We've been very successful. Um, one of our sponsors has been really good at securing us meeting with the governor. The governor normally does an Employee Learning Week proclamation. And then we go take a picture with the governor. We have not been able to do that due to COVID, but I believe that might change this year. So it's recognized by the governor, and then we take the photo. We have an event, but I think the goal is to really truly extend it a little bit beyond just that week in December, maybe up until by October, November, really celebrating and expanding it. So it could be in learning months, not just the week. And then our holiday celebration. We're here, we do our installation of our officers, we celebrate our members, our volunteers, we award our scholarships for that year. So much happens, just that build up and culmination that at the end of the year. So there's a way of actually engaging in that part. So one of our goals is that we want to start planning this in advance as well. So we can really pick out locations, venues, how it is, so that we can definitely invite that whole membership to it and participating early on. So we'll have that date on the calendar fairly soon too. And then Leadership Academy, not Leadership Academy, but the ALC, the ATD Leadership Conference. This year it is in San Diego, 2 days before ICE begins. So the 19th and 20th of May. And then I'm sorry, I called it ICE, it's ATD 23. ATD 23 conference begins, which is on the 20th, I believe, or the 21st. I think it leaves on the 21st or the 24th in San Diego. So normally we send our executive leaders, normally some members on the exec board, and maybe some of our highly involved, engaged volunteers that are slated to be potential leaders in the future for the chapter. And normally we cover flights, accommodations, and food and incidentals or whatnot. So those tend to be fairly expensive. Usually the event was in Alexandria, Virginia, and it wasn't that big of expensive. Okay, thank you, Nicole. And however, San Diego is a whole new geographical location to send and actually pay for up to 10. Our chapter normally sends about a minimum of 10 people to these events. Normally they had a virtual part, but they exited and they're only doing in person this year. So wanted to look and see about partnerships in regards to this year. And then, hey, maybe someone's in your organization that is volunteering and have the ability to participate and learn. I would say the greatest value about the ALC is the networking. The networking is phenomenal. And you learn so many things about what's going on in other chapters, programming ideas, engagement ideas, um, different tools and resources they're using compared to what we're doing in the chapter. I went as a volunteer and it literally solidified me being a chapter leader once I got back. I said yes to being VP of programs the minute I got back from it. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then I became president elect. So, and then technology. We do have a technology sponsor. Getting ready to send this organization out. We'll be announcing that in the next couple of weeks. But I'm grateful that they were ready. So we have Wild Apricot, Zoom, or Articulate license, and my learning technology and professional development CLP. Those things are now being sponsored. So once that contract is signed, but that partnership with sort of like the technology that we use every day to run the chapter or something like that does normally cost the chapter a nice good bit, but getting it sponsored allows for us now to free up some of those funds so that we can invest back into our members. So really identify tools and resources that our members will need to leverage and use in order to um, grow professionally, personally. So just really looking at what that looks like. So all that to say, a new one is naming rights. We'll talk about that later. So if you have an organization and you want something named after yourself, we can name that for you. All of those, I think this is the screen. Can y'all see this? Give me a thumbs up. Oh, that might be too big.
Yeah, it's a little small, but we can see it.
Okay. So yeah, it is a little small. I'll move it. So gigs, COPs, Employee Learning Week. Why is it done? Mentorship Program, Leadership Academy, the Senior Learning Leaders Forum, Technology, Scholarship, the December Holiday Party, and then ALC. So we're seeking exclusive sponsors for these events. So we're looking for a combination of 1 or 2 sponsors per event. In the past, we were, taking sponsors just holistically for the chapter, but we was like, hey, let's bring this in and find one exclusive sponsor. So this is where that value add comes in. So as the exclusive sponsor for these events here, you're going to be recognized. Your organization will be recognized for that specifically event. It's going to include the marketing, the engagement, the planning, the social media posts, everything leading up to and then afterwards. And so that's going to be, I think that's a really good value saying that, hey, XYZ company is sponsoring our gigs. And so your funds that you are sponsoring will go directly to the execution and implementation of those events. And so those are the things that we're looking at, providing you leave behinds, all of that, and you get access to those members. And then there are some abilities depending on the event, where you'll have MC hosting time, you might have podium time or recognition up to a certain point. Just a variety of different things we'll be able to provide direct access to, including social media posts and mentions and tags as they go there. So these are the event, our program and event sponsors. So these are our signature programs, the things we know we do and engage with every year. And then advertising. Some of the sponsorships already include advertising, but these are our a la carte advertising rates that you see as far as newsletter placement, social media advertising, um, adding a banner to the website on the main page or the event page. And looking at the duration, whether it's for a month, for a quarter, or annually. So just really looking at that part and what that looks like. And then also providing blog content with link backs to your website as well. We have a chapter blog. Members can participate in blog posts. So you can provide us that content as well. The wonderful thing about blogs is the fact that you can include links back to your website. So I understand in the marketing space, those link backs are really, really good as far as creating SEO and recognition. when it comes down to social media posts. We definitely want to get all this information in advance so that we can get it all scheduled and then really truly communicate to our membership and beyond the value adds in our relationships that we have with people and organizations.
Hey, Neil, can I ask
Yes,
a question on this one as well too?
go ahead.
As far as the newsletter advertisement, Leanne is wondering what the guaranteed placement is, like which part of the newsletter it would be in.
Mhm. So, depending on the sponsorship, if you're in one of the sponsorships, you'll be higher up. If you
Uh-huh.
are just getting or just doing a placement, it'll be probably near the middle, near the end.
Okay,
And
so
so
it
so
depends on
our
which
yeah, it just
level.
depends on the level of the sponsorship or something like
Okay.
that. But again, um, I'm gonna have a personal one-on-one conversation with each person that's interested in sponsoring,
Mhm.
and we'll come up with an agreement that meets your demands or requests. I don't say demands,
Okay,
your requests versus what the chapter is able to do.
right, okay.
So that's the other thing too. So again, some of the exclusivity pieces definitely helps as far as being able to push that logo up. Because
Mhm.
as the exclusive sponsor, that you're getting dedicated emails definitely in that month where you're sponsoring an event or whatnot. We're going to make sure that you and their logo is at to the top. But
Mhm.
this does help as far as with streamlining some of the operational and technical things that happen in the background when it comes down to sponsorships. Um, Again, we're 100% volunteer, so managing a lot of communications and where things go and placement, trying to have 50 sponsors is a
Mhm.
lot to manage. So it was like, hey, we kind of need to narrow this down. So now instead of trying to have 50 logos that are competing for the top, we now have a select amount of people or
Mhm.
logos that we can have at the top, near the bottom. I would like to add also that once I talk to the exec board, that um, our footer on the website, that actually does not change. It actually is the same footer throughout the entire website on every page. So the logos that are currently down there at the bottom are sponsors from last year. We're going to clean that up, and more than likely, there's only going to be one or two dedicated sponsors that will be down there, and they're going to be the sponsors that are at our top tier sponsors. I call our title sponsors, the ones that were the believer, supporter, advocate, and so on. Those will be the ones that will be featured down there.
Mhm.
So so that there's clarity in that
Okay.
aspect. Okay. Any other questions?
Um, I know the only other thing, and I think we have a meeting on
Mhm.
Friday. I think that's our
Yes.
one-on-one, so we can talk about some of these more then, because I know we're kind of getting short on time if you want to
Mhm.
keep going.
Okay. Definitely. Other than that, these are some more a la carte sponsorship things. Most of this is really pertaining to, as you can see, special events, holiday party, whatever it is. And so travel, just in case someone from Delta Airlines, like, we'll sponsor the chapter travel to uh, ALC. That'll be so great. Because sending 10 people there, I already bought my ticket to go. So it was like, oh, but we got a discount though through Delta on that end. So a la carte sponsorships for certain things we'll definitely talk about. And then our scholarship fund, as far as, hey, you can donate to our scholarship fund to supporting a TD professional or someone that's in transition and still seeking membership into the chapter to upskill and develop. Um, and then these are our current sponsorships, scholarships that we have currently, and funding and by the end of the year as well. So right now they're at 6,000, but hey, the goal would be to try to increase that. So the more things that we're able to get sponsored, the more the chapter can invest into these scholarships to provide development opportunities for our members. And so I'm not going to go too much into ACE sponsorships because this is a complete different. This is a big different one, but the ACE ones, they have title similar to the chapter holistic sponsorships. There's a title, vision, alliance, connector. I'm just going to skip right on to, because as you can see underneath these, if you'll be classified as an alliance sponsor if you sponsor one of these things below. You can do all or one, but they all have points to them. So same thing with connector. Now my computer wants to freeze. friend, and exhibitor, but it's all listed here. So if you go back to our ACE conference, as of now, is scheduled for October of 2023. That was the last that I heard last week. They were solidifying date, location, and all those things there. So these are the rates for sponsorships here, and then these down below are going to be the value adds that each sponsor would receive based on that. Now, what these offer these things here, but when we go back to them, look at it at this sense here. If I'm a friend, you can sponsor just lunch sponsor, the lunch speaker. These are the value adds that you receive here. You can get the t-shirt logo sponsor will go on a t-shirt, first time orientation sponsor, variety of different things. Right here at an advocate level, they actually be the sponsor for our lanyards. So hey, we'll have the lanyards with your logo on them, conference bag, promotion pieces as well. So that's how that was designed. So you can see, okay, where am I going to be? How are people going to recognize me? Where is my logo going to go? Based on those type of sponsorships. Then also the a la carte part, just holistic one right here. If you wanted to do an ad placement, digital, if you wanted to sponsor the Wi-Fi for the event, the badge or whatnot, they're just great ways of actually engagement and sponsorship pieces that we're looking at as far as providing that value add for our members.
I know you said that it's going to be in October. Is it in the same place as it usually is?
That's the piece that they're working on right now.
Okay,
Normally
so-
it's at the Loudermilk. That's where we've been
Mhm.
for the last few years. But I believe they were exploring some other spaces.
Okay.
That's all the information that I received.
you
at
have.
this time.
Okay.
Yes. But hopefully I think they're going to have that solidified by the end of the month
Mhm.
because that will require us to put down a deposit and start planning accordingly.
Okay. And she did have some questions on some of the pieces listed in that package, like the VIP lounge,
Yes.
extra signage, and a keynote photo. She was just looking for clarification on what the differences are with some of those.
Say that again.
So your big list for ACE,
Mhm.
like what is the VIP lounge?
The VIP lounge, that's going to
Uh-huh.
be, that will be the lounge specifically for those who register at a VIP level.
Okay.
So they'll probably either have, again, I haven't spoken to the ACE committee directly in regards to what they meant by some of these things.
Oh,
But
okay.
I know
So
we
this
have
is,
I know normally there is a lounge
okay.
specific for VIP or senior learning leaders where they can go and actually work on things or engage. They normally have their own food set up or whatnot as well, just to get away from the larger group. Just to
Okay.
get away, but they have their own special place.
Okay. Thanks.
Mhm. Any other questions?
I have a question, but I did go on Friday to the coffee meetup for Marietta in Douglasville.
Yes.
And it was so great. Honestly, I mean, it was wonderful. It was a packed room. Jen did a fabulous job kind of facilitating that.
Mhm.
And I mean, it took me almost 2 hours to get there because I live on the other side of the world. So, but I was like, I
We're
wanna be
planning one for
grateful.
your area, though. We are planning one.
Yes. And so, yeah, I wanted to maybe talk to whoever's in charge of that so I can maybe help facilitate that or get involved there.
Okay. Jen is responsible for planning all of those. She is right now, I think she's sending out a what you call those things, a sign up form or whatnot for those who are living in those specific areas to sign up if they're willing to host. She'll provide the PowerPoint deck, and I think her goal is to try to make them as well, but we understand that it takes 2 hours to get to one side of the city. So that's one of the reasons why we were like, the conundrum was, do we plan them all simultaneously at the same time, or do we rotate when we're going to do them, depending on which month? And I told her, I said, start simple this year.
Yeah.
Just do one in one location per month and let people know we're going to get to them. If there has been expressed interest and then also volunteers are willing to host more of them,
Yeah.
by all means, we can host more. That is not a
Yeah.
problem. But we want to make sure that people are being engaged and being able to meet with them in person. I'm upset I wasn't able to make it.
Oh, it was so good. And it was just so nice to be with other people and just to hear kind of what they're doing and what's going on in their organizations. And
Mhm.
it was just like,
Well, so I live close to you, so I'm pretty sure I'll come up to the Lawrenceville one, and I think I'm hosting the one that's in the Chamblee Tucker and Brookfield.
okay,
Mhm.
yeah, great. That's awesome.
Okay, awesome. Um, any questions from anyone else so far?
I have a question. So if somebody sponsors those sorts of meetup, what is the benefit for the sponsor? I might have missed that part of it.
Right. So the benefit for the sponsor for those specifically, let me go back.
Or should I say, what does it look like for a sponsor to sponsor one of those things? How are they included in on it?
Right. So the COPs. So again, I'm looking for an exclusive sponsor for the COPs or the gigs. So then it would be and I'm making this up, the Brookhaven meetup sponsored by Nelia's Strategy. That's one
Mm-hmm.
of my businesses. And so that will be on the registration page, the logo. That will go out in the email. So the confirmation email that goes out or something like that will have that member's logo, links to their website. And if they're able to provide a representative, they'll get a chance to actually speak, and talk to the crowd that's directly there. Again, coordinating that with Jen. And so again, the other value add is that, hey, you're not just sponsoring an event and then we don't hear from you again. No,
Okay.
we want our sponsors to be involved in the planning and execution of the event as well. Um,
Cool.
So you get you can, and actually you get to MC the event. You can host it or MC it. Another value add is being that sponsor is that you get to provide those leave behinds and the ability to capture leads.
Okay. Cool thing. Well,
Yeah, this is really helpful. Thank you for putting this together because I think, yeah, my leadership team would just be really interested in some of this.
Okay, and so again, we're doing these quarterly so that I have checkpoints. And like I want to be transparent and checkpoints. So as we're attracting new sponsors and partners, and some of these things are being taken up, then you can start leveraging these quarterly events as far as a ways of giving me feedback. So definitely, I'm take feedback via email or whatnot. But maybe you're unable to send that email, but you realize that, hey, I know we're meeting in August. I'm like, well, Neil, this is what's worked with us sponsoring, and these are the things that didn't, that we were able to that we probably fell off on, and something like that, so that we can actually have that more strategic conversation with those on the back to make sure that we correct that. Again, my goal is also to make sure that y'all are happy. So, yay. It's not all about us. It's about, again, it's a symbiotic relationship, and want to make sure that we're doing our due diligence to promoting not only your organization, but also supporting our members too.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. And also to maybe at some point talk about, what that would look like to have some of the ATD leadership on the podcast.
Okay. Yes, I will. Could you send me an email, sponsorships@atdatlanta.org?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. That's all I had, but I'll stick around for other questions that anyone else might have. And I'm going to record those questions just in case someone else listens to the recording.
and Robin, I also want to mention we do have we have our executive board meeting next week. I think it is 21st. Yeah, I think that's next week.
Yes, it is.
So you might want to get on the agenda and just speak about that, or you can just share the information with me and I'll share it in the meeting. But yeah, definitely to get some interest.
And that's on the calendar with the committee meetings.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. I'll take a look at that.
Okay.
And yeah, because we'd love to partner with you guys on that.
Okay, cool. Because I will tell you, like 4 or 5 of us from the board did the podcast last year. So like we had panel discussions and they turned out really great. We had lots and lots of fun. But yeah, I definitely would like, and think that people would want to participate and, share their perspectives. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that would be great. And the gentleman who is our podcast host, I mean, we talk about it later, but who's our podcast host, he's a great facilitator and kind of, can maybe help put together something that would work well for y'all.
Cool beans, cool
Yep.
beans.
I will send out this sponsorship packet with everyone, and it will be on the website probably within the week or two, depending on Rhonda's schedule.
Okay.
And me giving her the right information.
Yes, see, that's
Yes.
really what it is.
It's me. It's
Yeah.
gonna always be me. Don't worry, I'm gonna get my assistant to start working on getting that to you, Rhonda.
Okay, all right, thank you, no problem. All
Well,
right,
thank
well,
you. It was
good to
really
see
good.
everybody.
It's great
Okay.
seeing you all as well.
Thanks.
All right,
Bye. Thank
bye.
you.
Bye.